Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I am finally back with my videos after a long period of break because of my PC going bad. There is going to be a follow-up on that as well. But for now, let's talk Formula 1. Formula 1 is back this weekend. The 2026 season is starting today. Today was the qualifying, tomorrow is the race, and what an interesting qualifying it was, and I'm so excited to be discussing that today. We're going to be discussing the entire qualifying in the Australian Grand Prix today, and we have the qualification classification in front of us right now, as you can see. So we're going to go through every single one of the drivers or teams, however convenient it is, as some of the drivers are together in some of the teams. So we're just going to go through that, discuss every single driver, and see what's going to happen in the race tomorrow. And there's going to be a live stream for the race, so please do not forget to join in for that as well. So to begin with, we have we're just going to go through the entire classification first. So it's we're going to start from the bottom, and there is Lance Stroll at the bottom, who apparently did not set a time, alongside Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. Unfortunate crash for him. And there's the Cadillac pair of Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, along with Fernando Alonso in P17. And then there's the Alpine of Franco Colapinto, along with the Williams of Alexander Albon and the other Alpine of Pierre Gasly in P14. And we're going to go up to the Haas pair of Esteban Ocon and Ollie Bearman in P13 and P12, and then the Audi pair of Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto in 10th and 11th, and then the Racing Bulls pair, Arvid Lindblad and Liam Lawson, in 9th and 8th respectively, along with Lewis Hamilton in P7, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in P6 and P5, along with Charles Leclerc in P4, and Isaac Hadjar, a brilliant qualifying from him, in P3, and the Mercedes pair locking out the front row in Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. It was a great qualifying. Initially we thought any team could be on top, but by the time Q3 got over, we realized that Mercedes have really fooled the other teams all along, sandbagging really hard and trying to get pole, because these guys got pole by a huge margin. Honestly, in the new era, that is a really huge margin, which was about around 8 tenths to the other team and 3 tenths within the teammates itself. So we're just going to start from the top now. Let's talk about Mercedes. Mercedes, obviously, they have been sandbagging throughout the entire throughout the entire testing in Bahrain and in Barcelona as well. And they thought they were always pointing towards Red Bull being the fastest, but it's clearly a lie, because George Russell absolutely dominated the entire qualifying session, whether it was Q1, Q2, or Q3. And he's done an incredible job. He was completely consistent with his laps throughout the entire qualifying, and he has just put that car right where it belongs, in the front of the field, alongside Kimi Antonelli, who had a huge crash in FP3, but the Mercedes engineers did a really good job in getting the car up and running again, and he was able to get out for qualifying just in time, and he did such an incredible job. Honestly, after coming back from the crash, he did not lose confidence. He was completely confident with his car, and he put the car again exactly where it belongs, in the front row, right next to his teammate, and that is around 5 tenths faster than the rest of the grid behind him. Coming up to P3, we have Isaac Hadjar in the second Red Bull car. I mean, the only Red Bull car which ran in qualifying, to be honest, because Max Verstappen crashed out pretty early. With Max Verstappen out, all Red Bull's hopes were on Isaac Hadjar, and he performed really well under pressure. He out-qualified both Ferraris and both McLarens in his first ever qualifying for Red Bull Racing. So that is an incredible performance. I am really interested to see how he performs in the race. I hope he gets a podium tomorrow, and I'm going to be really rooting for him. Coming up to number 4, there's Charles Leclerc. It's a good place for Charles Leclerc to start with, but honestly, I was expecting more from the Ferrari, given how good they were in Bahrain during the testing. I was expecting them to be P3 or P2, honestly, but somewhere Ferrari just lost their pace between Q2 and Q3, including Lewis Hamilton. In fact, they looked really strong in Q1, but it did not last very long, and it did not convert into a P2 or P3 when it comes to the Q3 session. So the Ferrari seems to be lacking a bit of pace. I think maybe it was just some issues with the deployment. Maybe they're still learning about how the deployment is because of the new power unit with the 50-50 split between the battery and the IC engine. So Coming down to P5 and P6 with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, McLaren seem to be on a bit of a back foot right now. They don't seem to be up there with the rest of the pack. I mean, especially with Red Bull and George Russell. I mean, of course, Max Verstappen wasn't there in the front, but I can imagine if Isaac Hadjar is doing so well in the Red Bull, I'm sure Max would do really well as well. If Max was there, I'm sure he would have qualified P3 as well. So compared to that and Ferraris, McLaren seem to be the fourth fastest right now for some reason, and it's looking a little. I feel like Lando Norris has lost a bit of confidence in the car, or maybe he's just not able to get used to the new regulations right now. Maybe he's still facing some issues with the deployment, as Zach Brown said on the radio during the qualifying, that they were still trying to solve some software problems with the deployment during the qualifying session. So and okay-ish maybe for a fourth fast for a team which was expected to be fourth fastest. It's an okay-ish qualifying. Maybe they could have done slightly more, maybe P4, but still decent enough for both the McLaren pair of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. And then coming down to P7, we have Lewis Hamilton, who again looked really strong in Q1. He was doing really well, but then coming into Q2, Ferrari just seemed to have lost their pace completely, and then Q3 they somehow managed to salvage some of the pace which they had lost and managed to finish in P4 and P7 in Lewis Hamilton. The next big surprise, honestly, is Racing Bulls. While in this entire midfield fiasco, people were expecting Alpine and Haas to be, at least Haas to be in the front, but Haas seems to be slightly slower, and they got beaten by Racing Bulls, which seem to be currently the fastest midfield team after the top four, obviously. And Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad did extremely good. Arvid Lindblad impressed everyone, honestly. I heard Crofty and Martin Brundle say as well that, Arvid Lindblad really locked in during qualifying, and he put up some really good laps throughout the entire qualifying session in all three, Q1, Q2 and Q3. So that was a really good impressive session from Arvid coming in as a rookie into Formula 1, and especially alongside his slightly experienced teammate Liam Lawson. He matched him really well. He gave tough competition to Liam as well. So coming down to P10 and P11, Gabriel Bortoleto and Nico Hülkenberg in the Audi. Again, another team who impressed a lot, honestly. I am personally rooting for Audi as well. They have done really well with their car as well, and their power unit, especially for a team which is there in Formula 1 for the first time developing their own engine. I feel like they've done a really good job. And unfortunate with Gabriel Bortoleto having that problem at the end of Q2, where he lost power, I suppose, going into the pit lane on his in lap, and then he could not participate in Q3 because of that. So they did really well. Gabriel Bortoleto yet again out qualifying his teammate, much experienced teammate Nico Hülkenberg. But I'm really excited to see what Audi has in their package for the rest of the season. Again, next coming down to P12 and P13 of Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon. Haas looked really good in during the practice. They had solid pace. They put in, I think, the most amount of laps, if I'm not wrong, alongside Mercedes, if I'm not wrong. So I think it's a bit disappointing. I wouldn't say disappointed. It's an okay-ish performance. P12 and P13 is still great, I would say. But maybe we were expecting Haas to make it to Q3 instead of Racing Bulls or maybe even Audi. So they still maybe are still trying to get used to the new deployment like many of the other teams are. So let's see how that goes. Alpine apparently did not receive the strongest spec Mercedes engines, because if the Mercedes engines are so strong, Alpine should be really fast. Alpine should be up there with Haas, maybe even Audi and Racing Bulls, but they seem completely off the pace, which is why Pierre Gasly is stuck in P14 alongside Franco Colapinto, who did not make it to... Oh wait, who just made it to Q2, my bad. So he just made it to Q2 as well. Alexander Albon made it to P15. Honestly, it is good because of how things went with Williams during the entire preseason testing, with the entire fiasco of them skipping Barcelona and then coming into Bahrain being overweight and a lot of problems related to their car. I think P15 is just decent enough for Alex Albon right now. Again, Franco Colapinto off the pace, because I don't know where the pace for Alpine went, to be honest. He tried his best and he got out of Q3, and sorry, my bad, in Q1 I think I might have been saying it wrong. So out of Q1, but they have done really well. Okay, he tried to do really well, but he could not get out of Q2, to be honest. So he's just stuck there in P16 right there. Then comes the disappointment of this entire qualifying session. Fernando Alonso could not barely even drive the car because of the vibration problems that Aston Martin has been having for the last entire practice, to be honest. And there doesn't seem to be any quick resolve to this problem either, so I feel like Aston Martin is just going to be at the back of the pack. And honestly, Fernando Alonso out qualifying Cadillac is still really impressive given how bad Aston Martin's condition was right now. And then comes the pair of Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Cadillac, it's a long-term project, it's a new car, this is their first time in qualifying. I don't think we expected a lot from the, Cadillac. They have done decently well. P18 and P19 ahead of Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. So I feel like they've done okay. We did not expect so much. Like I said, it's a new team, it's a long-term project, so there's going to be a very long path to getting out of Q2 and making it to Q3 as well. At the end, it's going to be a really long path for Cadillac to get there. Then comes the unfortunate Max Verstappen. In his first race in 2026, he has crashed, and he seems to be really unhappy about the current regulations, as he mentioned during the media pen session, even after the qualifying as well. The way he just the brake snapped, and he just locked up his rears and he just went into the barriers was really unfortunate. Hoping to see a decent race from him. Maybe he can make it up to the points, hopefully. And I'm not sure if he can again have we can again expect a Max Verstappen masterclass like how we did in Brazil the last 2 years, but I hope he can make it to the points, maybe P6, P7. I'm hoping mostly for Max Verstappen. That would be a decent result starting from P20, honestly. Carlos Sainz Williams couldn't put in a lap because of the crash, I suppose. I'm not sure because I did not completely watch the qualifying in the beginning. I missed a few first minutes of the qualifying. So Carlos Sainz in P21, unfortunate again. He could have maybe made it to Q2 alongside his teammate up ahead, slightly ahead of the Aston Martins, but I guess he'll have a decent race tomorrow. And Lance Stroll being at the end does not surprise me, not because Stroll is bad, but just because about how bad the Aston Martin car is right now and the condition of the Aston Martin. This thing is really bad. So this is about it for the entire qualifying session. Now there are some things which we also have to look at, that this is just the first race. We're looking at some things which are some of the ideas which the teams are running are really preliminary, and since it's a new regulation, we can expect a lot of DNFs tomorrow because of mechanical failures, reliability issues, and a lot of other problems going through in different teams and different engines throughout this. So I'm expecting around 4 to 5 DNFs in the next race. Maybe some crashes because of contacts and some other reliability issues as well. So it's a really unknown sector for us to decide how the race would be. That we can only talk about this after, for which I will also be making a video about my reaction for the race as well. After the race, after the live stream as well. So I'm hoping that we can have a really good competitive race tomorrow, although the overtaking seems a little hard around here, but there is some hope because of the super clipping. If you have noticed in the onboards of all these cars, there's a super clipping at the end of the straights, and the cars lose almost 50 kilometers per hour of speed on the straights if the battery is not deployed, or if the battery completely drains out. So that's a huge difference. 50 kilometers an hour is a lot, and that seems to be a good opportunity to overtake, maybe for some others who have preserved their battery for slightly longer. Even a second matters over here, because those people will be slowing down. The people in front who have super clipping will be slowing down extremely fast. So this is it. I think this is it for this video. This was my reaction to the qualifying of the Australian Grand Prix, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the live stream and for the race reaction video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.